What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Amateur Hour TV for another video on the second channel for Amateur Hour. On this channel, I like to go through various NBA topics concerning the Toronto Raptors, and these are just topics that I don't really have enough time to go through on full videos for my main channel, Amateur Hour Sports, with nearly 11,000 subscribers. But nonetheless, I still want to talk about these things. I still want to document all of my opinions on matters just like this. So that's what we have for today's video. So make sure if you find yourself enjoying this one, you drop a like to support the channel, and make sure as well you are subscribed for more videos all throughout the off season, getting close to 1,000 subscribers on this channel. But our topic for today is the betting odds associated with the Toronto Raptors and their possible record for next season. And it's not unlike sportsbooks to disrespect the Raptors here. And if you've been a bettor on the Raptors over the last 9 years, you've won a little bit of money, because 8 of the last 9 years, the Raptors have gone over on their projected win total made by Vegas, made by the sportsbooks. So you've been winning a lot of money if you're betting on those overs. The only one that did not go over was, as you probably can guess, that Tampa season with Raptors did end up tanking, ultimately resulting in, that 4th overall pick, where the Raptors got a pretty good player with that pick in the end. But nonetheless, the new odds have been revealed for this season through PointsBet. Only PointsBet, as far as I have seen, have actually put out their odds for this one. But here are the win totals associated with every team. And the notable one is the Raptors. After winning 48 games last season, and mind you, they won 48 games in a season where they were supposed to be rebuilding. And their total for next season, set by PointsBet, is 44.5. Now, as somebody who does bet on a lot of sports very often, this looks like a very good bet that I probably would end up making. Another one I find pretty strange is Detroit 26.5. Like, Detroit aren't very good, but they're not a 40-win team, but I think they're going over that. I plan on betting that one as well. And I think the biggest thing about the Raptors only having 44.5 that people are upset about is Atlanta at 47.5. Like, I know they just got DeJounte Murray, but what an underwhelming season last year after making the conference finals 2 years ago. Last season, underwhelming, and still 47.5 over the Raptors. This one looked a little bit strange to me, and I think for very good reason it looked a little bit strange to me. 48.5. Like, the Raptors won 48 games in a season where they weren't even trying to win a bunch of games initially, it seemed like. Like, next season, I would think they're going to be near 50 wins. Like, I think they can get to it, but like 44.5 just seems really low. So I wanted to go bet it. So I went to my PointsBet account to check on the odds, and I found out why it's actually set at 44.5. So it felt a little bit disrespectful. Ultimately, I don't really care about the disrespect if it comes to sports betting, because that's an opportunity to make some money betting on the Raptors, which would be a lot of fun. It would be a fun bet to have throughout the season. But as I went to go check the odds, it was revealed why the Raptors were at 44.5 wins. So the Raptors, here's PointsBet, the actual bookmaker who put those odds up. Over 44.5 at minus 155 odds. The under is plus 125 odds. So that's why the Raptors are at 44.5. It's a very juice line, and based on the odds set by PointsBet here, with the Raptors at minus 155 odds, it would give them a percentage chance of going over, based on those odds, implied to about 61%. So they're essentially saying there is a 61% chance that the Raptors go over that 44.5 win total. Typically, you would want to set your over-under totals to be about like 50% odds on each side. So I thought that was a little bit strange here. If you were to bet like $100 on that, you would win $64.5. Usually you'd like to see like $100 bet to return $91. That's why it's only 44.5. So essentially, based on that calculation, it's probably the Raptors looking like 46.5 over under. That's what you'd probably see from other sportsbooks. And as other sportsbooks reveal their over under on win totals, I imagine the Raptors will have that 44.5, as I mentioned, or the 46.5, as I mentioned. What also is a little bit striking here. So I'm like, okay, that seems low, but it's a juice line. Minus 155 is a juice line. So I was wondering, would Atlanta have the same sort of vig taken? And they're minus 110, minus 110. So that's even on both sides. So that would imply a 50% chance they go over and a 50% chance they go under. That's what you would normally see with over-under totals. It's what you see here for Boston. It's what you see here for Charlotte, Chicago, a little bit different, just like the Raptors, but mostly you'll see that for over-under totals. So I'm just kind of curious as to why the Raptors are set in the way they are like that, but still, I was kind of surprised. 47.5. I think I can see myself going on the under here for the Atlanta Hawks. I will have to see what more sportsbooks are offering to maybe get a better sense of that price. But nonetheless, sportsbooks typically do disrespect the Raptors. This maybe could still be an occasion where you feel like that is the case. So let's say there are, proper odds of -110 on the Raptors to, go over their win total, and that would be about 46.5. I would suspect, maybe even 45.5. Even that, that 46.5, I would obviously feel a lot more confident with 44.5. 46.5, I think the Raptors are going to be pretty goddamn close to winning 50 games this season. 46.5 is probably a number I'd still take it's definitely a number I'd still take the over on for the Raptors. I wouldn't bet as heavily into that as I would bet for that 44.5. Like, I saw the 44.5 on Twitter this morning, and I was like, I'm going to go lay down a pretty fat bet on doing that. But 46.5, if that is a proper line that we see in the future, that is something that I will have to consider a little bit more. But ultimately, I guess what we're kind of getting out of this, the Raptors have been disrespected a lot of times. NBA media disrespects them, and it kind of folds over into Vegas. It kind of folds over into the odds makers. And as far as a money-making endeavor, that looks pretty good to me. If they're going to continue to undervalue the Raptors in terms of their win totals, it's not a guarantee they go over that, but I really like their chances of doing it. It's not as disrespectful as it was made out to be from that 44.5 win total we saw from that tweet earlier. But regardless, it still feels like it is a little bit low. And, the great thing about this is that, if anybody doesn't believe how I actually feel about this, I'm going to put money on these things. These are things I will actually put money on. I track all my betting on BetStamp, so you'll know how much I'm putting down. You'll know what risk I'm taking on these. So if you feel like you want to join me with these bets, make sure you understand how much I'm going to put down at the end, and we'll see a little bit more based on when other books start to release their information. But that is all for this one. Just kind of wanted to explain to you guys how those betting odds kind of work. So 44.5 was very low, but it was low because the Raptors have apparently a 61% chance of going over 44.5 wins. So that's just something that you will need to, keep in consideration. But thanks so much for watching this video, guys. Please be sure to drop a like if you found it informative, or if you enjoyed, or if you enjoyed it all along the way. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And make sure you are subscribed to Amateur TV. We do videos like this all throughout the week, all throughout the off season, and into the regular season as well. We're getting pretty close to 1,000 subscribers to get this channel monetized. So hopefully we can do that, and hopefully you can help me achieve that. We'll see you again next time for another video on Amateur TV.